I guess let's go ahead and roll right into another highlight video here because we want to talk about the CJ Cup at Shadow Creek. Usually this is over in, I say usually, it's been 3 years that they've been having this event, but usually it's over in South Korea. This year with the pandemic, of course, it is stateside at Shadow Creek. And, this is a course that I'm sure a lot of these guys have played. Some of them are, probably there relatively frequently. Some of those guys probably playing it as sort of a bucket list type of thing. But you're out there in Las Vegas, Brian. We don't have course form. We don't have course history. We don't have any of that stuff because we haven't had a PGA Tour event here. We did have Tiger and Phil the match a couple years ago, but they're not even playing this week. What can you tell us about this par 72 Shadow Creek?
Well, first of all, what's the budget for this thing we're doing? Where's the fireworks sound effects? I had Martin Laird at 60-1 this past week, which was really exciting. Thank you. I'll take it.
I'll give you a golf clap for it.
Well, I had chunks of hair falling out when he 3-putt 16 and bogeyed 18 and won the 3-man playoff. But that being said, and I got to tell you something, I am always ultra critical of the Shriners Hospital tournament at TPC Summerlin. Because let me tell you, this course has teeth if they grow the rough, and they don't. And the winning score is always 23, 24, 25, 26 under par. And I'm like, make these guys work. And I've been saying this for a decade. But you know what? They get exciting finishes. They get play. I mean, you had Non-Cantley in a playoff. You had Jonathan Bird win the tournament in a playoff with a hole-in-one. You just had a 3-man playoff here. Maybe I just got to shut the hell up and deal with the fact that it's a high-scoring event. But that setup over at TPC Summerlin does make for dramatic finishes. So I got to at least give them credit in that regard. Now, what we just saw, a lot of those guys are jumping, and that's why they came. It was a great field. And I think in large part, FedEx Cup points, sure. But I think a lot of them came and played that because they knew this was coming back-to-back weeks here in Vegas. Coming off the shelf, Dustin Johnson, who holds the course record, which is only a 66, by the way, is a co-favorite with Rahm, 10-1. Justin Thomas, who's won this 2 of the first 3 years of its existence, but those were in South Korea, so that doesn't mean anything. McIlroy's playing, Schauffele's playing. Matthew Wolff just lost in a playoff, so good form with him at 22-1. Koepka, by the way, coming back from the injury, so we'll see what happens with him. I'm going to look for some guys. And the other thing that's really intriguing, by the way, I watched the BMW, great tournament over in England. Ty Hatton played his lungs out. He was good. But so were Shane Lowry and so were Fleetwood. They've all come across the pond, and they're in that anywhere from 30 to 40 range. But I'm going to give you 2 that I'm going to go with. Daniel Berger's 35-1. He was terrific. Off the shelf most of the year. I think he kind of wore down, but off the break when they returned from the shutdown, Berger was the most consistent golfer. So I think Berger could use freshness as an asset here. And then the other guy I think is absolutely worth a look at about 40-1 is Sung Jae Im. He's going to win again. He's going to win soon. I think the pandemic hurt that kid more than anybody because he just was loving life, living out of a suitcase and going tournament to tournament to tournament. And, top 5s, win, top 8. The shutdown hurt him. He had a decent weekend. He had a decent tournament at TPC. And I think having those 4 rounds under his belt, I think him is an overlay at 40-1.
Well, when you look at this course, there were a couple of things that kind of stood out to me. A lot of dogleg lefts, which this is perfectly tuned to Dustin Johnson's ball flight again. So I think at 9-1, look, I know that he's a short price, but you got to like him this week. He's a great putter, great ball striker. I think everything about this course really sets up well for him. And that's the thing. This will be a ball strikers course because this is a very hard course. They've grown the rough out a little bit. But also one of the things I was reading is that these greens are very feisty. Multiple tiers, shelves, stuff like that. this is going to be a course where you're going to have to knock down some putts. So when I'm looking at ball strikers, I'm looking at guys that can also putt. Daniel Berger is a perfect example. Daniel Berger is one of the best putters among the ball striking group. The best putters are not here. The Denny McCarthy's, the JT Postons, the Christopher Venturas, they're not in this field. So you got to find a ball striker.
Talk me into a guy, by the way.
So you got to find a ball striker that can putt. And that's not a guy like Matsuyama. He's a guy that has problem with the putter all the time. That's not a guy like Victor Hovland. He struggles with the putter too. I like Scotty Scheffler a little bit this week. I think he's a guy that fits this course pretty well. I like DJ. Then one other one, 90-1. Anytime I get a course where you're going to have to putt, and he's a pretty good iron player too. I think Kevin Kisner at 90-1 is a good look.
I played Kisner in a matchup already.
Yeah.
But close your eyes, forget that you're wearing the turtle shirt. And what you just described, think who that guy has been for 3 months. The guy that hits fairways and can putt. You just talked me into him. I'm absolutely going to play him.
All right, who are you playing?
You just described Brendan Todd.
Okay.
Brendan Todd has rolled the rock better than anybody for the last 4 months.
80-1.
And all he does is hit fairways.
There's one other guy that I could make a case for, and I've seen people starting to make a case for him, and he's somebody that crossed my mind. And I guess there's kind of a correlation here that Jason Day plays really well at Tom Fazio designed courses. And Jason Day is 60-1 here. And Jason Day is a guy that when he's swinging it well, and you never know because of the back issues, when he's swinging it well, he's a good ball striker, puts it in the fairway, and he's also a pretty good putter too. So maybe Jason Day at 60-1, kind of a guy that makes my list, here as we get closer to the first round of tee-offs, but only 78 players here and no cut. So as usual, as you like to do, as you did with Martin Laird last weekend, some in-tournament opportunities, especially because we haven't seen these guys play this course. So I want to see who handles the course well and who doesn't. So Friday night, Saturday morning, I know you'll be stalking out some price plays.
I was just taking a quick peek at last week, and one other guy, is he playing? I'm just curious. Is Webb Simpson playing?
He's not. No,
he is not on the list. That's what I was just
because I liked him. That was my first thought. Ball striker that putts well, but he's not in the field this week.
To me, I like him. Way when I say I had Martin Laird, I got Martin Laird on Friday night at 60-1, and again, it just comes back to, I ain't the smartest guy in the world, but this is a strategy that works. Unless you're like so ultra convinced that John Rahm is going to run away and hide, play these guys, the favorites, you play them in matchups. It's foolish to play anybody at 10, 12, 15-1 in a golf tournament unless you're so convinced they tower over the field. You always should look for a price. Play 2, 3, 4 guys at big overlay bomb prices, get them in the hunt, and then you can come back, watch the first 2 days, sit there and say, before you get to moving day, this is the guy. I think he's going to get his act together on Saturday. And, and the beauty of it, that strategy too, Adam, is when you think about it, the guys that you're thinking can make the move on moving day, they're playing for the most part earlier in the day than the guys that got off to the fast start. So you can get the bomb who comes out of the gate and then feels his oats and he's in contention. But the quality player who's 4 or 5 shots back, all of a sudden he's going out earlier in the day, when the greens are more receptive and there's not spike marks and things like that. And they make the big push and then they get the momentum on Saturday going into Sunday. I always think you should start with a price, and you can then come back and get a quality player at an overlaid price that's 4 or 5 back that you think's capable of making a move on Saturday.
Good thoughts, good strategy there from Brian Blessing, and he'll have some more thoughts for us with a video of his own on the CJ Cup here later on over on our ATS YouTube page. So make sure you check that out while you're taking a look at this one and all of our ATS YouTube content as well. And make sure you subscribe to our full editions of ATS Radio, which you can find on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, wherever you stream and download your podcast content.